Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi. All right. So I'm just getting my stuff set up, and we will start in just a few seconds. How is everybody this afternoon? All right. So I put the poll up on Wednesday. Zoe and Mindy are here. Are you guys painting along? So I put the poll up on Wednesday, and you guys picked bookmarks. So, hi, Kay. So, we are going to do bookmarks. I gave you the measurements yesterday. And, oh, awesome, Mindy. That's great. I gave you all the memories. I gave you all the measurements yesterday. Hi, Danielle. And if you are painting along, hopefully you've cut them down to size. I did not save my video last week. My live last week. I don't know why I think I tried to, and it just wasn't saving. So I'm going to try to save the live this week and put it over on my YouTube. So if you wanted to rewatch it, you can do it over there. The comments don't show up, so sometimes it just seems like I'm talking to myself and answering my own questions. But they'll be over at my YouTube, Vanessa Paints. There is a link in my profile for that, in case you wanted to watch it again after the 24 hours is up. All right, so I have my bookmarks that I've cut down to size. And for those of you who missed the measurements, let me do it really quick for you again. And I'm putting it up in inches and centimeters, just in case. Oops, let me turn. Do I turn this around this way? Okay. So here are the measurements for those who need it. There we go. And the width is right here. There we go. All right. So that's just the measurements for a standard bookmark sleeve. And if you do get the standard bookmark sleeves off of Amazon, like I showed you, and this is what the sleeve looks like, you can just stick it in, and it will fit in perfectly. So this is just your standard sleeve. I bought them in a pack of 50, and the tassels come separate, and you can buy those in a pack of 50 as well. And then you just slide in your bookmark, and they are protected, and they look really pretty. So here's one. I have a bunch of these bookmarks for sale on my website if anyone is interested. I've sold out of a bunch of them, so I just restocked them a few weeks ago. So here are some of the ones that I made, and we will be doing a couple of those today. Okay, so ta-da. All right, so I have my paints up there. I also have a little ceramic palette, and I am going to be just adding some ink into one of the wells, because we'll be using the white ink, or if you have white gouache or white watercolor, you can paint along with using that. And I also have my shimmers, because I like to add some shimmers to my bookmarks. I especially like to add the Solaris, the gold, which is my favorite shimmer. And I've had to refill this like 4 times, and you can see I already need to refill it again. All right. Kay, I don't have Kiki's dish yet. I have a custom order for it, and she is making it for me. So for now, I don't have her dish. I just have my little ceramic palette. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is tape it down to a board. So for my boards, as I showed you yesterday, I use just the back of a watercolor pad, and Arches pads come with this thick board, and I always save them, so I have a ton of them for when I want to tape down my work. And you can see it's like paint stained and stuff, so when I want to tape down my work, I'll just tape it down to the board. And my don't mind my fingernails. I was making some blue paint yesterday and they have paint all over them. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is set up your bookmarks the way you want to tape them down. So, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions along the way. So I can usually fit around 5 bookmarks here. So that's what we're just positioning them close enough so that we don't waste too much washi tape. And hopefully 5 will fit in here. And yes, 5 do fit. Perfect. All right, so we have 5 here. I would put it further away so that you can see the whole thing, but then I won't be able to see the comments because I'm sitting down at my desk. And then I just quickly eyeball the measurements for the washi. And the first thing I do is, oops, let me put this. Oh, my washi tape got all crazy. The first thing I do is tape this first bookmark down. And I like to tape it hopefully evenly so I could leave a little bit of a border on the bookmark. I like my bookmarks to have a border. And that is not even, so we're going to start this over again here. All right. So we're going to make it sort of even with the first one down. And then we move on to the next one. So I position it fairly close, but leaving at least a little space in the middle so that the washi tape can adhere to the cardboard. And I'm going to tape both of these down at the exact same time. That way I'm not wasting any washi tape. Sometimes this works and sometimes it is a mess. So I got the first one down and we're positioning the second one in. Perfect. And we're going to do that to all of them. Is anyone here following along with me today? If you are, make sure that you, when you post it, you tag me and you use the hashtag Vanessa Paints with me, so that I'll be able to see it and feature it. I love seeing all of your projects that come out of these sessions. And I love it when you guys kind of take a different approach to it. I saw for the birds one, a lot of people were using different animals, and some just had lettering and a lot of different colors, and that was really cool. All right, Brightest Darkest Energy is trying it out. Awesome. Awesome. These are really, really simple and fairly quick. So when I do them 5, 6, 7 at a time, depending on how much space I have on my board, and they go fairly quickly. So if you wanted a nice quick project, this is definitely a good one to try. And my edges are not that even, but that's okay. And then we're going to do the last one here. Hello, everyone new who has joined. How is everybody doing today? Oh, Danielle just came back, or just arrived. Hello. All right, and then we're going to tape this last one down. Make sure that there's at least a little bit of room for the washi to adhere to your cardboard in the middle of it. And it is a little bit of a challenge to try to have evenly spaced borders. But if you don't, it's not a huge deal. That's the fun of having stuff like, handmade. It's not perfect. All right. And we're putting the last one down. And for those of you who are wondering, I'm using Canson paper today. So yeah, I'm not using my regular Arches paper, which is, all right, so the last two is we're gonna tape down the top and bottom edges. And hopefully if you made your bookmarks even along the way, then you'd only have to do this once. If not, you may have to do this multiple times. I did not make my edges even, so I may have to do it, use more than one washi. Oh, okay, no, they're fairly even. All right. Oh, well, I messed that piece up, so we'll add another little piece to it there. Oh, that, that's really good. I had a washi tape that had like arrows on the top and the bottom, and that was great for me because I could follow along the edges of the arrow. So yeah, if you have washi tapes that kind of has a guide on it, that would be even better. Because my edges may be a little bit wonky, but that's okay. All right. Oh, Danielle, the kids the kids are awake. All right, and then the bottom one, and then we can start. Okay, so then this is what it looks like on your board. And this way you can also work with multiple ones at once. So when one is drying, you can work on the next one and so on and so forth. For those of you that are just joining me, I am going to try and save the live on my phone. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So there is no promises there. But I'm going to try to save the live and put it up on my YouTube. So for the first one, what should we make? Let's see. For this first one, I'll make something really cute. How about we do something like... How about we do something like this for the first one? And this one is using the gold shimmer. So this one is fairly nice. And this one is just going to be a gradient between purple and pink for the background. So if you have purple and pink or any two colors you want to use, a gold shimmer and white ink and a white pen. All right, so we're going to start. I have a size 7 brush, but I think I'm going to go with a larger brush for the gradient. Let's see. Okay, we're going to go with a size 10 for the gradient. And we're going to start with purple. And with the Canson paper, you're going to notice that the colors dry a little duller than with the regular cotton paper that I use. But I like to use Canson paper because I make a lot of these at once, and I don't want to necessarily waste my other paper. And as long as you are able to achieve a good gradient and a good amount of color, then you should be fine. So I saturate my brush with the purple. And the techniques that I use here are the techniques that I use in my regular painting. So if you don't want to make bookmarks and you just want to follow along and make a regular painting, then that works too. So we start with the purple, and let's move on to some pink. So I'm using, for the purple, I am using Bright Clear Violet by Magello Mission Gold. And then I am using, I don't know what pink this is, but I think it's a Daniel Smith Opera Rose. But I'm going to mix it with another color because I am not too happy with that. All right, so I mixed it with a little Helios purple from Sennelier, which I love that purple. All right. And then to achieve a better gradient, you just mix it in multiple times. On Canson paper, it's especially hard to get a really good gradient without really working it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to load up my purple again. And just in one motion, go all the way down and mix those two colors in. All right, and we'll do that one more time to get it a little darker. And I'm going to start with my purple. There we go. Oops, I'm sorry about this light. Let me move this light a little. Okay. So I'm starting with my purple and then bringing that purple all the way down into the pink to achieve a better gradient on this paper. If you were using a cotton paper, you really necessarily wouldn't have to do that. You can just stop at the edge of the purple, and then it'll just kind of mix in itself. But the Canson paper can be a little bit iffy at times, so I just want to make sure that I don't have any like hard water lines in between. So mixing, 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 and we are going to leave it at that. Let me pick up some of these puddles on the side. All right. And if you have a little puddling on the side, that's okay, but if it's too much, just run your brush along the very corner of it, a dry brush, and it'll pick up any excess water that you have. All right, so that's that. Next one. Let us do, for the next one, how about we do a little, you know what, this one is going to be for Danielle. I'm going to do a little scene with water in it, since I have been lax about putting out my Skillshare class on water. We're going to do a little quick demo on water. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get a the first thing we're going to do is just get a flat brush, and this is a 1-inch Princeton Velvet Touch, and wet down your, I'm going to skip that one just so that it doesn't get into that. Wet down your paper completely. And when you're working with making like a seascape, it's better, for me anyway, a lot of people do it differently, to have just a nice soft like glowish glow to it. So that's why I wet down my paper completely. And we're going to start with the clouds. So I'm just going to get some blue. And if you took my cloud class, you kind of know how this goes. Just drop it in. And this brush is too little. Let me get a bigger brush. All right, so we're going to drop in some clouds. And I'm going to take a paper towel and lift a little bit of that paint up, just a little, to give it a nice like fluffiness to it. All right, so we're just going to lift a couple of places here and there. And then I'm going to drop in just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of dark blue mixed with a little bit of black to just give it a little grayness to it. And one of the reasons why I don't work too much with Canson is, as you can see, the paper has already significantly dried on me. But we're going to try to make it work. Give it a little bit of cloudiness to it. There we go. And it really is just about dropping in your paints. Okay. And now the bottom is already dry. So let's wet that again. And we're going to do a really quick watery scene here. All right, so we're going to go in. Oh, my brush just fell. 1 second. All right, here we go. All right, Danielle, this one's for you. We're going to go in with a very light coating of blue. So, and we're just going to swish it across. We're not going to refill the brush. We're just going to swish that. And then since we're imagining that the light is right here, so this is like the lightest part. So we're going to imagine that the light is coming from right here. So it's going to be darker away from the light and lighter up here. So we're going to add a little bit more blue to the bottom. If you wanted to mix that in with a little bit of a darker blue, you can. And we're going to do the same thing. Just kind of bring it up. And as you bring it up, it gets a little bit lighter, as you can see. And that's kind of the look that we're going for. So you want to start dark at the bottom. And here, let me show you my palette. I'm just adding a little bit more blue. I'm mixing in, these are all blues. So I'm mixing in a little bit of a darker blue to the lighter blue that I was originally using. And we're going to do it again. Start at the bottom so that the darkest is at the bottom. Bring it up. And as you bring it up, it loses that concentration. Okay? So there, oh, it's not even straight. Hold on. So there you have a little bit of that gradient, not too much. Next, you're going to go in with a smaller brush, and you don't want to wet it too much. And you're going to go in with a darker blue. So let me add a little bit of Prussian blue to it. And this is going to be the easy version of the sky, of the water. This is going to be the super simple way to do it. So when I'm doing water, let me stand up. Hello, my own fonts. So when I'm doing the water and I'm looking at the light source, so you want to keep this area here lighter. You can do it like at a triangle here. You want to keep this area lighter than the rest, and the areas at the bottom a little bit darker. So that's too light. I'm going to add a little bit of darker blue to that. And just drop a little bit of color in like a horizontal form here. And the paper is still a little bit on the wet side, so dry your brush a little bit more. And start dropping some color in. And again, you want to keep this area light, so you can drop a little bit here. All right, so all of this is going to kind of blend into the water, which is what we are looking for. And I'm going to let that dry for just a tiny little bit, and then add a bit more depth to it. Okay. So when I need the Canson paper to dry really quickly, it doesn't do it. Okay. So you're beginning to see a little bit of a pattern here. And once it dries a little bit more, we're going to go in even darker to add a couple of shadows to the water. Hello, 1385. Welcome, welcome. All right, so we're going in a little bit darker. It looks like it's drying a little bit. You don't want it to be completely dry, but you also don't want it to be really wet. Okay, perfect. And with the very tip of your brush, you're going to go in and start adding a little bit of shadow. You don't want to go completely horizontal this time. You can add a little bit of wave to it, some squiggles, to give it a little bit of motion. We are doing some bookmarks, and this one is going to be a little seascape. Hi, color of my hobby. How are you? I am doing very well, thank you. So right now we are just adding a little bit of wave here, and I like the bottom to be mostly dark, so we're going to make that a little bit darker. All right. So basically all I'm doing is doing a little bit of squiggly squiggles. That is 100% the technical term, for those of you wondering. And again, we want to leave that area light. And you can stop at this point or you can keep going. I have a problem with with stopping. I don't know, I just like to keep fussing around with my pieces for some odd reason. All right, there we go. And then I like to add random little areas of darkness on top, just to show a bit of shadows and light. Just don't cover this piece up completely up here. All right, I'll stop messing with it now. Actually, no, just one more piece. There we go. All right, so we have a little bit of water there. And this is very, like a very quick thing on water. It's not perfect, but it'll do. And now I'm going in with a little bit of black to add the mountains. And we will start over here. And as we get closer to the light source in the mountains, we are going to get rid of some of that black and make it a little bit lighter on that side. So I'm cleaning off my brush and going in and pulling it over. And then I'm wetting the bottom of it to blend it in a little. There we go. Give it a little bit of a shadow in the water. All right, so that was very quickly. That was a little seascape. Hi, Mama. And we'll be lettering the pieces afterwards. So there's a cute little seascape there. Our first one has dried. And if you remember during the first couple of lives, I said if your paper is cold, that means it's still a little bit wet. So you want to make sure that your paper is not cold to the touch, and this one is perfectly fine. See, there you go. I did that just for you, Danielle. All right, I'm going in with my gold, which is my shimmer from the Sprout Creative. And this one is Solaris, and I love this gold. So we're going to go in with that gold. Let me pre-wet it to do the sun. So you can do either one of two things on this side. You can pencil in the sun or just go for it freehand. And I think I'm just going to go for it freehand. Doesn't always work out, but hey. And again, while we're here painting, if you have any questions, feel free to ask away. All right, here we go in with the gold. Let me turn this around. It'll be easier for me to work with upside down. So doing bookmarks is fairly easy. I mean, you can basically do any design on it, do some lettering, put someone's name on it, you know. However you want to do it. Use your style and your techniques. And again, if you wanted to use these techniques to make a regular painting, again, that works as well. All right. So once that Solaris dries, I'll go back in and give it a second coat. It's so shiny, but it needs a second coat. All right, so we are going to paint the mountains at the bottom. And in order to do that, I am going to take a bit of white, and I'm going to be using my Copic Opaque White. And I got a new one, yay, because my first one crystallized. I don't know what that was all about. So I'm just going to grab some and we'll put it in the center of my dish. Okay. My own fonts for the first one, I used Bright Clear Violet on top, and that's from Magello Mission Gold. And I used a mixture of Helios Purple, and Helios Purple is from Sennelier. And what was the second one? Opera Rose or Opera Pink from Daniel Smith. All right, so we're gonna grab a little bit of, I'm sorry about this light. This light is a little pain in the neck. We're gonna grab a little bit of the white and do an outline of the mountain. Kim is not here. All right, so for this one, if you've taken my watercolor and ink class, you'll notice the techniques that I use in this one are the same from that class. And that class is the very basics. You can take it, a lot further. If you've seen some of my paintings in my feed, you'll see that I do a lot of different pieces with the white ink, which, I just love to do that. All right, so we are going to just do an outline of the mountain that you want. So we're going to do a quick outline. Let's make this one tall and add a little bit more. Okay, and then wash your brush off. And with a fairly dry brush, you are going to pull that ink down. And you want to work, fairly quickly, depending on how quickly it takes for your ink to dry. You may want to work a little quicker than you usually do. Yes, Danielle. By the way, when I'm saying Danielle, she's Mama Demix. I really love working with ink. I really love it. And you can make some really pretty silhouettes, and it's so great. All right, so I'm going to take some of the color that we used at the bottom, which is a mix of Helios Purple and the Opera Pink. And I am going to just drop a little bit of color in at the bottom to kind of give it just a little bit more color, because the color is pretty light down there. And you don't really have to follow any pattern or anything. Just drop some color in, because we're going to be adding some gold and we're going to be adding more white to it. So just drop it in. Oh, Kim is here, babe. Kim, Maggie was just asking about you. Then we're going to go back in with the white, and the white got a little mixed up with my pink, but that's okay. And if you recall in my last class, I told you the technique that I use for adding shadows to mountain. And instead of the shadows being black this time, the shadows are going to be white. By the way, Kim said that she's only here for you. Good. So the shadows are only going to be white. So as I said before, for those of you that were unable to catch it, whenever I do shadows on my mountains, I look at the peaks and the valleys. So here's the peak for this mountain, and here's the valley for this mountain, and then I'll do the shadow in between those. And then the same goes on this side, the peak and the valley, and I'll do the shadows in between those. So if you wanted to do it that way, I mean, there are a ton of different ways to do it, but if you wanted to do it that way, just make sure that you keep it to the same side. So you don't want to do your shadows here and then here. You want to do it here and then over here. Maggie, Mama Latina says hello.
Mama Latina.
So we're going to be doing that here. We're going to be adding some shadows there. And then I have to wipe my brush off because I'm contaminating the white. And then we are going to add some shadows here. Okay. We'll put some over here as well. And then clean your brush off. And you can blend that in a little. All right. And then finally, I'm going to add a little bit of my gold to the mountains. So I'm going to leave the places where I put the shadows, the white shadows alone, and I'm going to add the gold to the opposite end. And the gold is going to mix in nicely with the pink, especially at the bottom, because there won't be as much of a gold saturation at the bottom as there is on the top. So it'll be like the sunlight is kind of hitting it. And the whole mountain will be glistening, but the top much more than the bottom. So there we go. You can also leave some, hi Ariana. You can leave some spaces. Hi Nana. Okay, she did not hear me. My daughter just came home from school and I said hello, and she obviously did not hear me because she has her headphones on. So, oh, the comments are hiding it? Okay, sorry. Let me move this up. Is that better? Okay, so we are adding the gold to the opposite side of where we put the white. So the white on one side and the gold on the other. And again, the white is supposed to be the shadow and the gold is like the sunlight glinting off of it. There you go. So there's your mountain, and we can put this aside, and we're going to go back up and put another layer of gold on the top, but I'm going to turn it around and work upside down. You are very welcome. All right, so we're adding a second layer. And dropping that color in. All right, and then we are going to let this piece dry. And then we can add some lettering or stuff in there. So there's the little seascape we did, the little mountainscape we did, and what now? What should we do now? Let's do a space one, a galaxy one, because I love my galaxies. So we'll do, I'm trying to look at all the bookmarks that I have here. We'll do a little galaxy piece. So we'll do a little galaxy in green and blue. So I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm going to go in with my size 10 brush. I got these new brushes from Craftimo, and I love them so much. But the biggest round they have is a size 7. And unfortunately, as much as I love those brushes, I don't use small round brushes very often. So that kind of stinks. But I contacted them and asked them if they were going to make bigger round brushes. And they were asking me a bunch of questions and stuff, and they eventually said that they would. So that's great because I really love their brushes. All right, so for the galaxy, we're just going to use 2 colors today. And we're just going to drop in the colors at random. I'm just going to start with the Viridian, and this is Magello Mission Gold Viridian. And we are also going to add in, what is this blue? Peacock blue. Peacock blue from Magello Mission Gold. And it needs a little bit more water. So another very simple way to do a galaxy is just throw those colors in there. And like I said before, this paper dries fairly quickly, so we're going to need more than one layer. Is my paper wet first? For my galaxies, no, they're not wet. I used to wet the paper first, but I found that it loses a lot of vibrancy. So I go in wet on dry. So I'll go in with my wet loaded brush and dry paper, so that it keeps a lot of the vibrancy of the color. All right, so we're gonna go in, and then we'll go in with a second layer. So I'm gonna go back in with the green and really load my brush up with a lot of green. There we go. And when I go in with my second layer, I like to overlap the colors. So I'll go in over the blue with the green, and then I'll do the same thing with the blue. So I put a lot more green this time. And now I'm gonna go in with the blue and put it over the green as well. And when it dries, it just gives it a nice, smooth gradient. This brush is a size 10. It's a size 10 Princeton Select. And these are the brushes that I use the most often. These brushes are student brushes. They're not specifically for watercolor. They are, what are they for? They're kind of one of those brushes that are like, you can use them for anything. Acrylic, watercolor, oils. And I love these. I love these brushes so much. They are my preferred brushes. So I'm just lifting up some of this water because the paper doesn't soak in as much water as cotton paper. So a lot of the water kind of stays puddled around. So, hi, Nicole. How are you? So we are I'm picking up a little bit of the water and mixing a little bit more of the blue. And when that dries, you'll see it's a lot more vibrant than had I wet it first and then added the paint. Oh, Svetlana, thank you. All right, so we're going to let this one dry. And let me see if you can see how pretty it looks already. You can see a lot of the green and the blue kind of mixed in together. Mad for Mads. Yes, my brush is pretty wet when I go in wet on dry. I do saturate it a lot with water and with paint in order to make sure that it stays wet enough for me to blend another color in. So don't go in with a very dry brush. Go in with a fairly wet brush. But I would recommend more paint than water. And let me just pick up some of these puddled edges. And for those of you who have joined, I am using Canson watercolor paper for the bookmarks. And this is probably one of the only times you'll see me use Canson. I only use it for practice and for my bookmarks. So that one is drying nicely. The water has already dried, but we're going to leave that for now. And we're going to move on to another painting. Ooh, let's do this one. We're going to do a gradient on this one. So we're going to start on the side here. And we're going to do a really soft gradient from yellow to orangish to like purple and blue. But we're going to leave it very, very light. I may have a bit of a problem because my water is blue. But we'll try it anyway. All right. So we're going to go in. Actually, no. I'll be right back. Let me just get another cup of clean water. Talk amongst yourselves for 2.5 seconds. If I can get out of here. All right, I am back. And yes, I am going to attempt to save this live. And for those of you who want to paint along after 24 hours, it will be in my YouTube channel if I can actually save it. I tried to save last week and it didn't save. All right, so I'm going to start with yellow, and I'm not putting a lot of yellow. I literally just touched the yellow to, I just touched the brush to the yellow, and I'm going in very light because I want a soft, almost pastel gradient for this one. And I'm only going to do one layer. So we did the yellow, and next we're going to go in with a little bit of red. Again, we're going to do it very light, not that light, because I don't want a very bright bookmark here. So I'm going to take a dry brush. I wet it, dried it, and I am going to, oh, I need to go back in with the yellow because the paper has dried already. So we will go back in with the yellow and bring it into the red. All right, and now we're gonna have a little tiny bit of purple. Let's do a little purple. And again, I'm making a nice pastel color, so I'm not going in too dark with the paint. And then next we have a little bit of blue. All right, so I'm going to blend these. So I'm going to start with the lightest one, which is the yellow. Add a little bit more yellow. And just drag your brush completely across the paper. Add a little purple here. Okay, there we go. And we're going to let that dry. So for this one, I'm going to do a little silhouette of some buildings. And it looks, hopefully when it dries, it'll look a little bit nicer than it does now. Let's add a little bit more purple here. There we go. All right, I will stop messing with it now. All right, so we're gonna leave that. And the buildings that we're gonna add across here once it's dried is, it's gonna be on the horizontal, not on the vertical. All right. Hi, Carrie, how are you? And then the last one, how about the last one? We do a little moon with some moon glow, which I love. So let's do a little bit of a moon with some Daniel Smith moon glow, so you can see the magic of it. All right, for this one, I need my tool because I cannot draw a straight line or a circle to save my life. So we're gonna do a half a circle here. There we go. Oh, that's right, Carrie. We're not on the same 3 p.m. All right, so for this one, we are pre-wetting the paper. So we're going to work on the moon first. So I am wetting the moon piece because all we're doing with moon glow is dropping in color. So if you don't know about Daniel Smith's Moon Glow, you are missing out. This is probably one of the most beautiful colors I have ever seen in my life. And it kind of, the color separates into two colors, like a purple, a little blue color, and oh, it is gorgeous. So you really don't have to do much with it. Just drop it in and you'll see some separation. Let me see if you can see that here. And it granulates beautifully, and it's just, it is a gorgeous color all around. Let me take a little bit of this wetness off. And literally that is it. That is my moon. Anytime you see any of my moon paintings, this is all I do. I wet the surface and I drop in color. That's it. Nothing else. And the paint does everything else. So you can already see that it's separating into some blues and the purples, and the granulation is beautiful. There really isn't
And
much
you're
that
beautiful.
I do. Oh, you're so sweet. There is not much that I do after that. There's your moon. All right, so I'm going to let this dry before adding in the sky, because if you, oh, hi 8 p.m. in the UK. If I were to attempt to add the blue, it's going to leak into the moon. So wait until this is fully dried before adding in your sky. And again, look at how pretty that is. And I didn't do anything. You saw all I did was just drop in that paint. And this color did it all. So there's your moon. All right, let's go back to the first piece. And we are going to letter something on it. Where's my pen? Sprout is crying. All right, so I am not a letterer. Letterer. I am I am not a letterer. But I have been using Kim's workbooks. Kim, are you still there? Kim is at Love Lettered. And she has these amazing workbooks, and they're $4.99 for the digital copy. So I've been using her workbooks to try to help me with my lettering. And okay, there it's I'm coming along, I should say. I'm not gonna say that I'm great, but I'm coming along. But her workbooks are great because it has like the starting and stopping points. Okay, my own fonts, thank you for stopping by. It has the starting and stopping points. It's just amazing. So if you are looking for a good lettering book, if you want to improve your lettering skills, then Kim has upper and lowercase for thick pens and thin pens. I don't remember, but she has 4 of them out. So Kim, you can tell them more information on that. So here we are going to, oh, this is still wet. Let me put a paper towel down over this. Here we are going to just letter Once Upon a Time. And I don't have her workbook in front of me, so we're going to wing this. Okay. So that's what I'm going to letter. I'm going to letter Once Upon a Time. Once upon. I'm at a weird angle here too.
Your face is a weird angle.
Oh, stop it. Once upon. Sprout is crying up a storm. Once upon a time. All right, there you go. It's not the best, but it'll look better after we add the little shading stuff to it. All right. I'm not going to do all of this right now, but I'll just do. There we go. We have large pen uppercase and large pen lowercase. And there's 2 more, Kim. Okay. And small pen uppercase and small pen lowercase. So her worksheets are amazing. They are packed full of information, and that's what I've been using to help me with my lettering. And I'm trying, but one day I will get there. One day. So I'm just going to do the ones now, and then I'll finish the rest off camera. But here is the ones. And then we're going to leave it like that. 4 sets at $4.99 each, or $8.99 for a set of 2. And I would recommend that you get the set of 2 for each set because it's upper and lowercase. All right. So once that dries, I will show you what I do next. But we're going to go to the Galaxy one. And so for this one, you can do one of 2 things. You can take your pen, and this is what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to take my pen and just dot it for the stars, or you can, do the spattering with the 2 brushes. So you load your brush with white paint and or you can load an old toothbrush with white paint. So you can load an old toothbrush with white paint and then just do this to it. You know what? Let's do that. I haven't done that one in a while. So cover up your other work because you don't want to get paint all over it or white paint all over it. So cover up your other work and you're going to wet your brush first. Wet your brush and add some white paint to that. Where is my dish of white? Oh, here it is. You're going to, oh, I need more. We're just going to dip it into the pen. All right, so you're going to wet your brush, dry your brush off a little, and then dip it into the white. See? And then flick it onto your paper. Whoa, I left too much water on there. That's okay. All right. So that's why it's important to dry your brush a little. But whenever I have big splotches of white, I usually make them into stars. So I'm going to leave those up there. And we're going to cover that. And there is your Galaxy. And you can letter that however you want. Over here, we're going to add some birds. Yeah, I think a few birds are in order here. Let's see how much time I have. Okay, I still have some time. So for the birds, we are going to go in with some black. And you don't want your brush to be very wet because it'll leave a puddle. And we're just going to add, let's add a couple of little birds here. All right, there's one. Let's add one up here. All right. And then you can add like a little saying in there if you want. Now for the silhouette. So I'm about to lose the live in about a minute and a half. So we're going to start the silhouette. And if you want to finish up with me, we have this and this one to finish, and I will be back when the live, actually, I'm going to stop it now, and I'm going to come right back on. So if you want to come back to see the silhouette and the sky, I'll see you in like 2 seconds. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, what was up with my voice there? All right. Welcome back, everyone. So I think I saved the live. I hope I did. It looked like it saved. So if it did save, I'll let you know in my stories, and then we'll post it I'll post it on YouTube tonight. All right, so for the silhouette for the buildings, I'm going to go in with a very watered down black. And I don't want the silhouette to be very dark because my sky is very light and pastel-y. So I want some of that to show through. So I'm going to go in very lightly. And let me get a scrap piece of paper here. So I'm going to go in very lightly with... And there we go. So that's not very dark, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. And we're going to go in with a very watered down black. Even better. Okay. So I have no plan of action for this. So we're just going to go in and start painting buildings. So, I mean, you can look at a skyline if you're looking to do a particular skyline for a particular city. You can take a look at that online, Google it, and do it that way. But I'm just making stuff up as I go along here. And you want to go in just very, very lightly. Very, very lightly. Because you only just want the shadow of a building, and you want some of the color that you lay down underneath it, you want some of that to seep through it. Is that even straight? Okay, it is. And again, I have no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here. I'm just laying down some shapes. Okay, my paintbrush needs a little bit of water. Oops, sorry. I don't know if I was out of range there. I'm going to put a little antenna on this one. And when you go in for your silhouettes, just make sure that your paper is completely dry underneath. My buildings are a little wonky, but you get the idea. All right, I think we are going to leave it at that. All right, and then the last one that we're doing is the sky against the moon. Here, let me give you another close-up of the moon now that it's dried. Look at oh, I love these colors. So pretty. All right, so I'm gonna go in with my dark, 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 dark blue. So I'm gonna go in with some Prussian blue because I love Prussian blue. And we're going in wet on dry. Doesn't matter how much paint you put on the paper. You can make it really dark. You can make it light and put some layers in there. That doesn't really matter in this piece because we're not going for any gradients. We're just going for one solid color. right. And then here's the tricky part. All right. And you may, depending on the type of paper that you're using, you may need to go in more than once and to kind of get a smoother effect. So if you don't have moon glow, what else would be good for the moon? You can actually use any color. Here, let me just show you a piece that I did. Let me just grab it really quickly. This is a commission that I just did, and I used just regular paint, and I did it the exact same way as I did the moon glow. So I dropped in color. So just like here, if you saw the way I did it before, I just literally just dabbed it with my brush. I did the same thing here. I just dabbed it with my brush, but the only difference with this one is that after it was a little dry, like it was just like at that point where it was almost dry, I splattered some of the paint over it. So you use the exact same technique. And just gives it a more natural feel. You don't really need to fiddle with it too much. I added some lines, you know, at the bottom of it. But yeah, you can use any color. It doesn't have to be moon glow. I just really like moon glow because I like how the colors separate. Ooh, indigo is nice too. I love indigo. All right, so I'm just going to give this one another quick layer to make it a little bit darker. And then we are done. You're welcome. Then we're done with these pieces. And then I will take the washi tape off and then see if I got my line straight, which I probably didn't. All right. So this moon is done. This moon piece here, this moonscape is done. When this piece dries, I would either throw some stars on it with the toothbrush method, the splatter method, or just dot it in with your pen. So for this one, what I like to do is if I have these big splotches, I will turn those splotches into stars. So for this one, for instance, here's a fairly big splotch. I just turn it into stars by, let me see if this is actually working. There we go. So I will just add a little circle in the middle and star. Woohoo. Super simple. So you can do that with any of the other ones that you have. Okay, so I'm not going to take this one out just yet because it's really wet. So I'll take out the rest and see how my borders turned out. Hopefully they turned out okay. And we're gonna stop. Whoops, sorry. We're gonna stop right here. All right, and we'll do the same on the other side. And we will stop right here. Oh, thank you, Vinny. And as I said, you can letter them, or, if you don't want to letter them and just want to leave them like that, it's fine. But I usually do it when I take the masking tape off and I'm able to work a little bit better on them by moving them around and such. All right. We got one. And we've got another. Here's another. And for this last one, I'm just going to try to slide it out because that blue is still fairly wet. Aha. All right, so we're going to leave that one on there. So here are the semi-finished bookmarks because they're not all done. There we go. And let me show you how I put them in the sleeve. So the sleeves, as I said earlier, they come separate from the tassels, and I bought them on Amazon. So we're going to start with, is this one dry? Okay, this one's dry. So sign the back of it and stick it into your sleeve. Oh, I don't think I cut this one down as much as I usually do because it's giving me a hard time to go in. But hold on, I have to go off camera for a second. All right, so I didn't cut this one down enough. So what I'm going to do is trim the edge just a little bit. And this is why I like to leave a border on it, just in case I need to do this. Because sometimes I don't cut it down enough. All right, so I left a border on that. Perfect. And let's try this again. Ah, much better. And then we'll take a gold tassel. And the tassels, again, I bought them on Amazon along with the bookmark sleeves, and I bought them in packs of 50. And they were not very expensive. They were fairly inexpensive. So you stick them in, open it up, and then loop that in through there. And there you go. There's your bookmark. Super simple. And they're really nice and personalized if you wanted to make names on them. I know Becky from Spring Valley Art, she told me that she sends bookmarks out with every order. So that's really sweet. So yeah, so that's that. Does anybody have any questions or anything while you have me here? So last week I did a giveaway for my painting that I did, and I will do a giveaway. I don't really like the way this came out, so we're gonna set that aside. I'll do a giveaway for these 3 pieces,
Okay.
and the moon, which has not dried yet. It's still wet. So I'll do a giveaway for 4 bookmarks, so 4 winners. So just stay tuned to my stories to see what you have to do. I don't think you have to do anything, but just stay tuned to my stories. And I'll pick some winners either tonight or tomorrow. All right, so if that's it, if nobody has any questions, thank you for joining me this week. And if you go ahead and make your own bookmarks, then tag me to them and use the hashtag Vanessa Paints with me. Oh, okay, good. You use cotton paper. Yeah. One of the pluses to having non-cotton paper, which is a plus and a minus, is that it dries really, really fast. But you have to be able to blend really fast if you use non-cotton paper. So that's that. So yes. So stay tuned to my stories, and I will put up some little fun thing so that you can have a chance at winning one of the, you know what? I'll do the 5. Even though I don't like that one, I'll throw it in there anyway. One of the 5 bookmarks. All right. I will see all of you guys next week. Wednesday, I'll put up another poll, and Thursday, I will put up the winner for the Vanessa Paints with me for next Friday. All right. Bye.